Hi there. Today we follow Lamine Yamal, a very young football talent whose story is not only about speed, skill, or bright lights. It is about growing up while the world is already watching, and about learning how to stay calm when praise becomes pressure. This story moves from a small neighborhood dream to big stadiums, from family support to national expectations, and from childhood promise to the question many football fans are asking as the next World Cup gets closer. How does a young player carry hope without losing himself? Chapter 1. A Boy with a Ball. Before the noise, before the cameras, and before millions of people knew his name, Lamine Yamal was simply a boy with a ball. That is where many football stories begin. Not with a contract, not with a headline, not with a perfect plan. They begin with a child who wants to play one more minute. Lamine was born in Spain in 2007. His roots connect different cultures and different parts of the world. His family's story has links to Morocco and Equatorial Guinea, and his football life grew inside the streets and fields around Catalonia. For a young player, these roots matter. They are not statistics. They are part of identity. In neighborhoods where many children play after school, football can feel like a language. A ball moves between feet. A small space becomes a stadium. A wall becomes a goal. A friend becomes a defender. A simple game becomes a dream that feels close, even when the professional world is very far away. People who saw Lamine early often noticed something unusual. He was not only fast, he did not only want to dribble. He seemed comfortable with the ball in moments when other children rushed. He could wait, he could turn, he could see a pass before the pass was open. That kind of calm is rare in a child. But early talent is never enough by itself. A young player still needs people who protect the joy of the game. He needs family, he needs coaches, he needs adults who understand that a child can be special and still be a child. That balance is one of the quiet themes of Lamine's story. The first question is not, how famous can he become? The better question is, how can a young person keep growing when football starts to move faster than normal life? Chapter 2. The door opens early. When a talented child enters a famous football academy, the dream becomes more serious. For Lamine, that place was La Masia, the youth academy connected with Barcelona. Around the world, many fans know that name. It has been linked with technical football, patient passing, and players who learn to think before they run. For a child, an academy can be exciting and difficult at the same time. The fields are better, the coaches are stronger, the games are faster, but the pressure also becomes real. You are not only playing with friends anymore. You are being watched. You are being compared. You are learning that talent brings attention, and attention brings expectation. At level 3, we can say this simply: the better he became, the smaller the margin for mistakes felt. A bad touch was still just a bad touch. A missed pass was still just a missed pass. But inside a big system, every small action can feel bigger than it really is. Lamine grew in an environment where the ball had to move with purpose. Barcelona's football culture values control, vision, and courage with the ball. That means a young winger can not only run past people, he must decide when to pass, when to slow down, when to attack, and when to help the team breathe. This is important because many young stars are praised only for spectacular moments, a dribble, a goal, a bright video clip. But real football asks for more. It asks for timing. It asks for patience. It asks for choices that do not always appear in highlights. As Lamine moved through youth football, the dream kept getting closer. But there was also a new danger. When people call a child a future star too early, The label can become heavy. The player may start to feel that he must prove something every time he touches the ball. The door was opening early for him. The question was whether he could walk through it with the same joy that helped him reach it. Chapter 3. First Steps Under Big Lights. A first senior appearance can change how people see a player. One day, he is a young talent in the academy. The next day, he is a name in newspapers, videos, and conversations. For Lamine Yamal, that step happened at an age when most teenagers are still learning who they are. To play for a club like Barcelona as a teenager is not normal pressure. The shirt carries history. The stadium carries memory. Fans do not only watch the game. They watch for signs. Is this player ready? Is he nervous? Is he special? Can he become the next important name? This is where the story becomes delicate. It is easy for the outside world to move too fast. A young player has one good game, and people want to create a legend. He has one difficult game, and people start to question him. Both reactions can be unfair. Growth is not a straight line. Lamine's early minutes showed confidence. He looked comfortable receiving the ball wide, facing defenders, and trying to create danger. He did not seem afraid of the stage, but confidence does not mean he felt no pressure. It only means he was able to play while pressure was present. For learners of life, not only football, this matters. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to act while fear, noise, and uncertainty are around you. A young player, under stadium lights, has to manage his body and his mind at the same time. Every touch created a small story. A successful dribble gave fans hope. A lost ball reminded everyone that he was still learning. A good pass suggested maturity. A tired run showed that professional football is not only talent, it is physical work, mental work, and emotional work. The lights were bright, but the real challenge was not to shine one night. The real challenge was to keep improving after the first applause faded. Chapter 4. Family, Roots, and Protection. Behind many football stories, there is a family story. Fans often see the player on the field, but they do not always see the people who helped him before the cameras arrived. In Lamine's case, family and roots are part of the public story, but they should be treated with respect. A young player needs protection, not protection from hard work, because football demands hard work, not protection from competition, because competition is part of the sport. He needs protection from being turned into a symbol too quickly. He needs space to be human. This is especially important because Lamine became famous very young. When adults become famous, they may already have stronger personal boundaries. A teenager is still forming those boundaries. He is still growing, still learning, still making normal mistakes, and still discovering how to carry public attention. Family can help keep a player connected to ordinary life. A simple conversation at home can matter more than 1,000 comments online. A reminder to stay humble can protect a young talent from believing every compliment. A quiet meal can feel more important than a loud stadium. Roots can also give strength. When a player carries more than one cultural background, many people may see themselves in him. That can be beautiful. It can create pride and connection. But it can also create extra weight. A young footballer should not have to carry every dream from every person who admires him. The respectful way to watch Lamine is to enjoy his talent without demanding that he become everything at once. He can be promising without being perfect. He can be exciting without being treated like a savior. He can represent hope without being trapped by it. The ball gave him attention, but family and roots can help him remember who he is when attention becomes too loud. Chapter 5. Learning Maturity in Public. Most people learn maturity in private. They make mistakes, correct them, and move on. A young football star learns many things in public. Every match, every reaction, and every visible emotion can become part of a conversation. That is not easy. Lamine's situation asks for a special kind of maturity. He must listen to coaches, respect older teammates, face defenders, handle media attention, and still keep the courage that made him different. If he becomes too careful, he may lose part of his game. If he becomes too free, he may make mistakes that the team cannot accept. This balance is one of the most interesting parts of a young winger's development. A winger needs imagination. He must try things. He must create danger. He must sometimes take risks. But professional football also asks for responsibility. When to dribble, when to cross, when to pass back, when to defend. The public often remembers the spectacular choice. But coaches remember the right choice. Sometimes the right choice is simple. Sometimes it is not exciting. Sometimes it is a short pass that keeps control. Sometimes it is a run that opens space for someone else. Maturity also means understanding attention. Praise can feel good, but it can also be dangerous. If a young player listens too much to praise, he may stop learning. If he listens too much to criticism, he may stop playing freely. The healthy path is somewhere in the middle. For Lamine, every season can become a classroom. Not a classroom with desks, but one with defenders, stadium noise, travel, recovery, pressure, and responsibility. The lesson is not only how to play better, it is how to stay balanced when the world speaks loudly. His talent made people look. His maturity will decide how long they keep watching with real respect. Chapter 6: Spain, Expectation, and the National Shirt. When a player represents a national team, the emotion changes. A club season is already intense, but a national shirt connects with family memories, flags, old tournaments, and the hopes of people who may only watch football during big events. That can make every touch feel heavier. Lamine's story with Spain brought even more attention. He was not only a young club talent anymore, he became part of a national conversation. People saw him as a sign of future energy, creativity, and possibility. That is exciting, but it must be handled carefully. A national team is not built around one child, one teenager, or one star. Football is a team game. Even the brightest player needs structure, teammates, coaches, and time. Saying this clearly is important because fans sometimes look for a single hero. Real success is usually more complex. The next World Cup adds another layer to the story. Around the world, people are already thinking about who may shine on the biggest stage. Lamine is naturally part of that conversation because of his age, skill, and visibility. But expectation is not the same as destiny. No one can promise what will happen in a World Cup. Football is too uncertain. A ball can hit a post. A player can be tired. A team can change. A tournament can turn on one moment. The safe and truthful way to speak is this: Lamine may arrive as one of the young players people are curious to watch. That curiosity is powerful enough. It does not need exaggeration. It does not need predictions. It does not need the word savior. The human story is already strong. A young player, growing quickly, learning to carry pressure while a global audience waits. The national shirt can lift a player, but it can also test him. For Lamine, the test is to stay himself while the shirt becomes heavier. Chapter 7: The Gift and the Risk of Speed. Lamine's football often feels quick. Quick feet, quick decisions, quick changes of direction. But speed in football is not only running fast, it is seeing fast. It is understanding fast. It is knowing what a defender expects and doing something different before the defender is ready. This kind of speed creates excitement. Fans lean forward when a player like Lamine receives the ball. They feel that something may happen. A defender may be beaten. A pass may open the field. A quiet moment may suddenly become dangerous. That feeling is part of why football is loved around the world. But speed also carries risk. A young player who attacks often will lose the ball sometimes. He will choose the wrong pass sometimes. He will run into a defender sometimes. If fans only want magic, they may become impatient with the mistakes that come with courage. A healthy football culture understands this. Creative players need permission to fail in small ways so they can learn to succeed in bigger ways. They need coaching, not constant panic. They need correction, not punishment, for every lost ball. This is even more true for a young player. Lamine's gift is not only that he can create danger, it is that he can make people feel possibility. When he receives the ball, the game feels open. That kind of player changes the emotional rhythm of a match. He makes defenders nervous and fans curious. Still, the next step is always harder. Once defenders study him, they prepare. Once teams know his favorite movements, they close spaces faster. Growth means finding new answers. It means adding patience to speed and simplicity to imagination. The gift is speed. The risk is believing speed alone will be enough. The journey is learning when to fly and when to wait. Chapter 8. The noise around a young star. Modern football is not only played on grass, it is also played on screens. Clips travel in seconds. Opinions grow in minutes. A young player can be praised in the morning and criticized at night. This is one of the biggest differences between past generations and today's stars. For Lamine, the noise can be intense because his story is easy to share. He is young, he is skillful, he plays for famous teams. He creates moments that look beautiful in short videos. That combination is powerful in the modern football world. But short videos do not show the whole person. They do not show tired legs after training. They do not show quiet corrections from coaches. They do not show pressure before sleep or the work of staying disciplined when everyone wants a new highlight. This is why a respectful viewer must be careful. It is fair to admire a great pass. It is fair to enjoy a dribble. It is fair to be excited about his future. But it is not fair to demand perfection from someone still growing in public. The noise can also affect how people talk about tournaments. Before a World Cup, fans love to imagine the next big story. They ask who will break through, who will lead, who will surprise the world. Lamine may be part of those questions. But questions are healthier than predictions. A question leaves space for reality. A prediction can become a trap. A young player does not need a trap. He needs time, health, good coaching, and the freedom to keep developing. The world can watch him with curiosity, without turning curiosity into pressure. In the age of screens, silence becomes valuable. The people around him who can give quiet support may be just as important as any loud celebration. Chapter 9. Pressure, Discipline, and the Long Road. Talent can open a door, but discipline keeps it open. This is true in football and in life. A young player may reach the top level early, but staying there asks for habits that are not always visible. Sleep, training, recovery, listening, repeating simple exercises, accepting correction. The public often sees the exciting parts: a goal, an assist, a smile, a celebration. The long road is less glamorous. It is made of ordinary days. It is made of arriving on time, working on the weaker foot, learning defensive movements, studying opponents, and doing small things when nobody is cheering. For Lamine, discipline will be one of the most important words in the years ahead, not because his talent is in question, but because talent needs structure. The more attention he receives, the more structure he may need. Fame can pull a player in many directions. Discipline brings him back to the work. Pressure will also change shape. At first, people are happy simply to see a young player appear. Later, they expect him to decide matches. At first, mistakes are part of learning. Later, mistakes are discussed more sharply. This is not always fair, but it is part of elite sport. The World Cup conversation makes this road feel even bigger. A global tournament can turn a young player into an international symbol very quickly. But the tournament is only one part of a career. A strong career is not built on 1 month. It is built on many choices before and after that month. That is why the best version of this story is not, can Lamine become a legend immediately? The better version is, can he keep building the habits that allow his gift to grow at a healthy speed? Chapter 10. The world watches, but the game remains simple. As the next World Cup approaches, many football fans will look for young players who can bring surprise and emotion. Lamine Yamal naturally belongs in that wider conversation. He has already shown enough talent to make people curious. But curiosity should not become a promise. Football is beautiful because it cannot be fully controlled. A player can prepare perfectly and still face a difficult match. A team can arrive with hope and still meet stronger opponents. A young star can create one great moment and then spend the next game learning from mistakes. This uncertainty is not a weakness. It is part of the sport's power. It reminds us that the field is not a script. Nobody knows exactly what will happen. The only honest thing to say is that Lamine's story gives fans a reason to pay attention. For students listening to this story, the language is simple, but the idea is deep. Growing fast is not the same as growing well. A person can be praised too soon. A dream can become heavy. A gift can become pressure. The challenge is to keep the center steady. Lamine's center may come from family, coaches, teammates, and the love of the game itself. The ball is still round. The field is still green. A pass is still a pass. A decision is still a decision. Even when the world becomes louder, the game asks for the next simple action. That may be the most hopeful part of the story. Behind the headlines, the future, and the World Cup questions, there is still a young player who must wake up, train, listen, learn, and play. The big story is made from small actions. The world may watch, but the game still begins with one touch. Chapter 11. What his story can teach us. Lamine Yamal's story is still being written. That is important. It is not finished. It should not be treated like a completed legend. It is a living story about talent, growth, attention, and the responsibility of watching young people with care. One lesson is about patience. When someone shows talent early, people often want to hurry the story. They want big words, big promises, and big comparisons. But a healthier way is to let the person grow. Talent deserves excitement, yes. It also deserves patience. Another lesson is about pressure. Pressure is not always bad. It can make a person focus. It can show what matters. It can push a team to prepare better. But pressure becomes dangerous when it removes joy or turns a human being into a symbol. balance is the key. There is also a lesson about identity. A player can carry many roots, many hopes, and many eyes. But he is still one person. Respect means allowing him to be more than a headline. It means remembering the human being behind the performance. And finally, there is a lesson about dreams. A dream can start in a small space with a ball and a few friends. It can grow into stadiums, national teams, and global tournaments. But if the dream becomes too heavy, it needs support. No one carries a dream alone. There is one more quiet lesson in this story. The future does not need to be rushed. In football, people love fast answers. They want to know who will become great, who will lead a team, who will shine in a World Cup, and who will be remembered for many years. But real growth does not obey the speed of online comments. A young player needs seasons. He needs difficult matches. He needs games where his first idea does not work. He needs defenders who read his movement and force him to think again. He needs moments when the simple pass is better than the beautiful dribble. These are not failures. They are the normal steps of a serious career. This is why patience is not passive. Patience is active. It means giving talent the right conditions to become stronger. It means letting a player learn without turning every mistake into a crisis. It means celebrating progress without demanding a finished legend too early. For Lamine, the next years may bring joy, pressure, criticism, praise, and new questions. Some days may feel easy from the outside. Other days may be more difficult than fans can see. The respectful viewer remembers this. A footballer is not only the moment on the screen. He is the person who must live after the screen goes dark. And maybe that is the best way to watch his story. With excitement, but also with care. Enjoy the creativity, notice the courage, respect the learning process. Let the future arrive one match at a time. So when people talk about Lamine and the next World Cup, the best tone is not pressure. It is curiosity. It is respect. It is the quiet excitement of watching a young player learn how to move through a world that discovered him very early. This was another story from the English Vault. A story about talent, pressure, family, and the courage to keep growing while the world is watching. I will see you in the next one.